Welcome to Film Phreeks. This is Justin Llewellyn.
And Eddie Williams.
And tonight we're going to be doing another Netflix review this time. And this time we're talking about a little known film that went quite under the radar when it was coming out. And this is
unfortunately, it got undershadowed by El Camino.
Yeah, it's a little movie that came out called Fractured, which is directed by Brad Anderson and stars Sam Worthington, Lily Rabe, and among others. And in this film, we deal with a husband and his wife and daughter who basically basically experience an incident when they're going on a trip. And after kind of subscribing in the trailers, after some stuff goes down inside the hospital, it basically becomes pretty much I want to say mind fuck. And I want to kind of leave it there.
It basically becomes a psychological thriller where, like, if you saw in the trailers, where he goes, his daughter's being inpatient into this hospital, and then suddenly he goes and asks where they're at because he hadn't seen them in a long time, and pretty much they're gone. And it's basically a psychological thriller of him throughout the story trying. It's got you thinking if he's seeing things or if he's right, type, so to speak.
Yeah. There's like two sides of it, and it basically becomes a psychological thrill, right? Now, here's a little backstory. Now, believe it or not, this guy, the director of this, Brad Anderson, has actually been known for other psychological thrillers that came out that I'm actually a big fan of. Which his most biggest one was The Machinist from 2004,
yes,
which I highly enjoyed.
And I highly enjoyed that too. And I would say that before we start getting deep into this review, I will say that I'm wondering if we should already dub this guy probably one of the best psychological thriller directors in Hollywood.
Yeah, because the guy also did a little known under the radar type movie called Session 9 from 2001, which I actually hear is very underrated.
Yeah, I hear that is severely underrated, and I have not seen that. I need to get to it because I see people talk about it all the fucking time, and they have it they basically said that it's criminal that no one's seen. A lot of people haven't seen this movie, so I'm gonna get to that when I can because I have seen it on Netflix for free view, so I need to get to it.
Yeah, and his other last recent film that made mainstream that came out recently was back in 2013 when he did The Call, which I didn't see, but I heard that one wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I did hear that was probably his weakest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then with this one coming out,
he's like I feel like it's criminal that this motherfucker is like not given the credit that he should be deserved, because I don't know if I've seen somebody that has a good that good of a track record writing psychological thrillers.
Yeah, and after I like heard a little bit about this movie, I kind of avoid a little bit of the trailers because I was kind of going in blind just so I could try to get the idea of what it was about. And I'll admit, upon seeing it, this was one of kind of the more surprising films I've seen of 2019.
I agree with you as well. This one, it looked good in the trailers. Unfortunately, like we said earlier, this was coming out at the same time El Camino, so El Camino is blown out of the water as far as views. So a lot of people haven't really got to this yet. But upon seeing it myself, I will say that I was fucking impressed with this movie.
I was too.
It's a damn good psychological thriller. In fact, it's probably a little bit under, but it's up there with Machinist. Is probably his best.
Yeah, in fact, I kind of like I do like Machinist more on certain aspects, but I will say this goes with a good double feature with the Machinist because it does deal with a lot of similar.
I think Machinist was a little bit better, but I still think this movie was up there.
Yeah. So to get my pros out of the way, Sam Worthington, he really nailed it in this movie. I actually really like him as an actor, and I find him very underrated, like a lot of those other actors that we've mentioned before, like Ben Foster and all them. And it's good to see that he's kind of taken a more subdued role instead of his usual like action role type that he's known for.
Yeah, because where I was introduced to him was when Terminator Salvation, and it seemed like he just jumped the gun on big box office blockbuster movies, and it was kind of cool seeing him in a subdued type family oriented movie, so to speak, is what it is. And I do like him as an actor. Now, I will say that I'll just get one little nitpick out of the way because it ain't really a strong con. It's not like it really irritate me in the movie. A lot of his problems is the guy is from Australia, and if you see movies where he's really like hyperactive and shit just going crazy, you do hear the you do get you do hear his Australian accent slip sometimes, and you do get that a little bit in this film, and that's been probably like his problem getting American, like a lot of American movies because of that.
Yeah,
And but
because even
still
when
a phenomenal actor.
yeah, he is definitely because even when he plays American roles in movies where he's trying to be an American, you can tell that
Yeah,
he just can't do an American accent that well, and it's
like
noticeable in movies like
he
Avatar.
can when he's able to like express like slowly express himself, but when he gets into like certain scenes where it just gets a little too fast for him, he slips quite a bit. And you do hear that in this film, which is a little problem for me, but other than that, 79 to about 85% of the movie, probably roughly, he did very good on his American accent. It's just
Yeah,
it's always a little bit, and he had that issue with Salvation and some other movies.
and Avatar, and also that one you saw, The Shack.
Yeah, the Shack, he had that. It happened. Yeah, the
Surprisingly, the
Shack was
only
probably
ones,
he slipped most in.
yeah, surprisingly the only ones where he actually nailed his accent pretty good was Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the
he
only
didn't
one,
have much of a hyperactive role in that one, so he was able to subdue his accent in that one. But yeah, anyways, yeah, he was phenomenal, and I enjoyed him as well as you guys saw in the trailer. He has a wife and a daughter, and they were pretty good as well. The story of this film, the psychological part, is probably the biggest highlight of this film,
absolutely.
and I expect that because the director did Machinist, and those were the highlights of those movies. And man, talk about the fucking plot! It has you like wondering what the fuck. And it's kind of hard to explain the plot because I really don't want to fucking spoil anything, but it does have you sitting wondering: is this hospital really doing shit to people that they shouldn't be doing? Or is he seeing it or just seeing
What
things? Maybe he was the
else?
only patient, or did he do something bad that
Yeah, the
you
movie
you
really
had guessing? And this director does so well. He did it in The Machinist, and it was kind of really like The Machinist, and that's what made me really enjoy this film.
absolutely, and I love the way that the movie, puts both of its sides on it because it deals with a lot of like, are we really seeing things that are real, or if it's basically reality versus fiction, what's happening, and the movie
Yeah,
plays tricks on you of what is pretty much going on, and I won't
you
spoil
know
it,
it.
but especially
Now
that
I like it digs deep into mental illness a little bit. A lot of people probably didn't notice it, but kind of does because there was actually, I'm not going to spoil anything again, but there's a backstory of some event that happened that was tragic when he was
yeah,
younger.
yeah,
Um, and you're wondering, like, is this guy mentally ill? And you will learn that in this movie.
yeah, definitely. And it helps too that I actually got to admit that the ending was pretty fucking was pretty pretty outrageous. Like I couldn't believe that, when that happens, the reality when we actually figure out what happens, it really like gets you, and it really had the
Let
same
me
kind of
tell you
vibe I
something
had
what I love
with
about the ending. What I love about the ending that they did so well on. So there's three things that could have possibly happened in this movie, and it has you guessing all three things.
yeah,
And it
but
actually picks at you at the end where they actually go with all three of those possibilities at the end, and you think that's all right. That's the one. Then it just gives you the second thing you predicted. And you're like, okay, that's the one. And then it just goes off and does the third thing. You're like, oh man, that was good how they did all three of those at the end.
yeah, it was almost like I'm not trying to compare, but it's almost like how they did with the original Clue, where they actually had three endings and they were all shot together. It was pretty much how they did that.
Yeah, like the last 10 minutes is like one ending because the three predictions when you're watching this movie, you're studying it, you got three predictions of of the possibilities of how it's going to end. And they actually like it's almost like they read your mind because they
Yeah,
like deep in all three of the endings and then they give you the official ending at the end. You're like, what the fuck?
yeah. It's
That's
like
twisted.
that was
And
great.
say
I really like that.
if you're looking for a bloodbath, it's not like that, but I will say there is a scene. It's pretty gruesome,
Yeah, it definitely is. But I also
and
got to appreciate
you
too that
feel sorry for the guy too because Sam Worthington, his character goes through some fucking shit,
he
like trying to
does.
convince. And you start thinking, man, this fucking hospital is fucking pathetic. And then you start learning other shit. It's like, whoa, But
I
man, his
also
journey throughout the story was brutal.
Yeah, and I also got to appreciate the cinematography too. I love the whole winter feel that they're going for in this. And I also got to really appreciate the music. This kind of goes back to the Machinist. It had a very similar score that I thought I was watching again from that movie in a very
Yeah,
good, tensional
that
way
he
because there's a
uses
lot
that
of
very he uses that psychological thriller type music that fits the mood.
absolutely, and there's if I really had just really any kind of like and the rest of the performances are good too. If you remember that one girl, Lily Rabe, she was from American Horror Story, and she was good.
Yeah,
And what I also
the
appreciated too,
cinematography kind of had like a bleak feel, like Gone Girl.
yeah, I definitely felt like that. And
Hmm.
the and what I if I had like really any kind of like minor cons, I would say that it's really more of like we could have elaborated more on some of the stuff that tied into his backstory and stuff, just to kind of like give
Yeah,
us a little bit more
I
clear.
agree with you. The backstory tries to be relevant. It somewhat is, but it's mostly not relevant. It can
Yeah,
get confusing because they want to play so hard on the psychological part. They keep bringing that up, but really it has no relevancy other than his. It just digs more deep into how he might have been an alcoholic and shit like that. But as
yeah,
far as the current story of what's going on with this relationship and his daughter and stuff, I mean, that's the main focus. I'm glad you're giving us like some character development that there was something dark, but at the same time, they leave some loopholes.
yeah, definitely.
And
And
not only
it's
that, another thing I did catch in the movie, I do want to elaborate on a little bit that bothered me a little bit was there's this part where like deep in the story where he's so convinced his kids are locked up and these cops come and they're going through everything they could possibly can. And this one doctors and everybody keeps saying that he came in there from a car wreck. I mean, couldn't they solve that that wasn't true whenever they go out in the parking lot and see his car and it wasn't even damaged?
yeah, it did yeah. I thought that was a little bit of questionable. I was like, you kind
So
of
right now he came in from a car accident, but no one's investigating his car that he drove in there had no fucking damage on it.
yeah.
So you start questioning that aspect because they really dig into that, saying, "No, you were here, you were a car accident victim." I'm like, well, just go out there and look at your fucking car; it ain't damaged. Prove it.
Yeah.
And they never do. So it's kind of yeah, you kind of left that out.
Yeah. But other than that, though, I mean, I really did find this quite an enjoyable film, and I'll definitely. It's not going to probably make my list or anything, but it was definitely quite a watch, and I would definitely put this as a good double feature with The
Actually, this
Machinist.
could make my list. This could actually be my honorable mentions. To be honest with you, this was a big fucking surprise for me.
Yeah, I mean, there's like it's really surprising how you find like hidden gems, like how we described last year when you find movies like Upgrade and stuff. You find those little movies that go under the radar, and you find something like this, and it's like,
The
wow,
prime example to me would be Mandy from last year.
yeah.
That was the biggest surprise, Mandy.
Yeah. So with that being said, I gotta admit, I actually really enjoyed this film a lot, and
Yeah, I'm a little phenomenal grade in Film Freaks Manor. I do think that this could potentially make my top 10, if not my honorable mentions. I enjoyed the fuck out of it. I think it's under par for Machinist, but it's still up there with Machinist. So,
yeah, fair enough. I'm gonna give it a low phenomenal grade on the Film Freaks meter. It's probably not gonna make my list, but it definitely would be a good possibly an honorable mention if I don't really like if I bring up my list of other films. So
Yeah.
for those of you who have also seen Fractured, let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. And if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like and subscribe to our channel and check out some other reviews here and our website at filmphreeks.com. And we'll be seeing you in our next review. We'll see you later.
Well,